This is Luka from Quasarborn, and you're listening to Dave Softee's Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio.
Alrighty, Metal Maniacs, here we go. Please help me welcome back to Metal Messiah Radio, hailing from Belgrade, Serbia, longtime brother and great friend, frontman of outstanding metal band Quasarborn, brother Luka Matković.
Thank you for having me, Dave, as usual.
It's always a pleasure, brother. I'm glad to have you back. Welcome back to the Metal Meltdown. Luka, how are you doing out there?
Well, actually, I'm doing pretty good considering everything that's been going around us. I'm like sitting in my room, and I'm pretty much had the time to have some rest from my usual lifestyle.
Yeah, I understand that. I think we're all having more time on our hands than we really wish we had. But this is a great time for us to talk about your brand new offering out there, the new album you have, A Pill Hard to Swallow. But first of all, before we get started talking about your music, I want to know on a personal level how you are coping these days with this COVID-19, how it's messing up the band and performances or whatever you usually do. The norm that we call the normal routine is all messed up for all of us out here, whether you're in Serbia or the United States or in Spain or Italy. Everything is like at a standstill. It's a really horrible situation the current times we're in right now.
Yeah, well, the biggest problem for me is probably just as for everybody else that we can't really work. And I work in my own studio, Citadella, the one where we produce our albums and where I produce like most of Serbia's metal scene and stuff like that. So since in Serbia there's a police hour and you can only leave the house from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., it makes it really hard to actually have somebody to record because most people are still working at some times, and the ones who don't go out are still working from home. So it's not like you can't have people over to record. And on weekends we have a total lockdown, so that's out of the picture as well. So I couldn't like work anymore from my studio, so I just took the most important stuff like my speakers, some acoustic treatment panels, my computer and everything, and brought it home so I can do something like mix a couple of things, maybe record some new demos for Quasarborn and stuff like that. And I'm sitting at home pretty much having having the time of my life.
Yeah,
I'm just resting a bit, like I usually do a million things a day. I'm constantly running everywhere. I'm overbooked with how many things I have like in my schedule. And now it's pretty much like, I mean, I'm still doing a lot of stuff, but from home, and I'm sitting in my chair, like having more time for myself. And I'm actually pretty comfortable with that so far, but I don't know how will it be like in the long run.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, and as for the band, this is pretty bad for us because we had planned a huge concert here in Serbia. When I say huge, take that with a grain of salt. It's huge for our standards. It's the biggest one we would have ever had. It was supposed to be in this big hall, not a big hall. It's a big club actually, where like bands play like Sepultura, Obscura, Mayhem, Arch Enemy, bands like that played in that club. And we booked that club. We really did our best to promote the show here in Belgrade. We did like all kinds of social media promotions. We did like posters, flyers, went to other people's gigs, talked with people. It was like we really put everything we had. We were expecting like maybe 400 or 500 people, which is at this point a lot for us. And just 2 days before the show, the Serbian government put a ban on all gatherings. So we literally our concert was forbidden. Yeah. And just a couple of days later, it was declared, the government declared a state of emergency. So that was the first thing that kind of slammed us to the floor. And then the lockdown prevented us from having any rehearsals, from anything, which is maybe a good thing. We don't want to spread this thing. We want to be responsible to our communities, to ourselves, to our families, and like not spread the virus. But that's actually pretty bad for a band because we have to stay home, which means, for example, he cannot play drums because you can't play drums in your home. His drums are at the studio. And I can play guitar, I can record some demos, and that's pretty much what we're doing right now. We decided to like record ideas and exchange them, talk about some possible new songs we could do because there's not much we could do except for that,
Exactly, yeah. And it's a really sad situation because, when I do the Mental Meltdown, it has my total focus for the 4 months I do this. And when I know it's time for me to get back to work, I stop taking on new interviews. And just when I decided to do that, I had some more interview requests. I said, you know what? Truck's not ready. It's still at the shop. Let's do more interviews. And then when I'm ready to go back to work, this all happens. I'm like, oh my God. And a lot of the interviews that I've done over the last, let's say, month, a lot of new releases come out at the end of April, beginning of May, or even the later part of March. And all of those interviews talking about their, let's say, their CD release parties and everything and everybody, whether it's in Long Island, New York, or whether it's in Germany. everything had to be canceled, so everybody's life has been on hold. But
Yeah.
but there's a blessing behind that because of this situation, I'm able to get with you to talk about a pill hard to swallow. Things happen for a reason, and maybe I appreciate you being here that we could talk about this great new offering of yours. And I remember the first time we talked and how you said this Quasarborn is going to be different than Space Eater, and it's not going to be all thrash. It's going to be like tactical thrash, if you want to say, a little bit different. We have more things we want to do, and I hear it in this offering, and I'm loving this offering. I love everything you do, even the music you produce for other bands out there. You just have a certain talent. You really do really good stuff.
Thanks, Dave.
For Serbia. Oh, it's the truth. And I think you have a lot of fans out there, especially the ladies think you're really. I think Alexa called you a hottie on the banner. She says, "Hi, hottie." I'm like, "Oh my god!" I don't know if you caught that, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you got it, you got it, right? Like I say, So that being said, it's great to have you here to talk about your new album, "A Pill Hard to Swallow."
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah. I wish it was under. We this is kind of becoming cliche. I wish it was under better circumstances, but I mean, we're home, so we have all the time in the world to talk about this, and so instead of like doing nothing, I'm staying with Metal Messiah Radio till it's able for me, so I'm able to get back to work. So I'm not going to sweat it. The more I do with the interviews, the more time flies, the more fun I'm having. So let's talk about your killer recording. The title of the album. How did you come up with "A Pill Hard to Swallow"? And you had this song as well. What is there anything like you want to say symbolic or any meaning behind this particular title?
Yeah, sure. Of course it is, because I was kind of not afraid. Afraid is a too strong word. Like I was somehow very interested in how people will react to our shift in style. I mean, the shift is not too big. We're still playing some kind of metal and something, but still the new elements that we bring in, the melodies, the softer parts, the album is slower, and still there's so much going on, and so many different parts, and it's attacking you from everywhere. And I thought that this would be kind of pill hard to swallow for some people, especially for some fans who loved our thrash delivery on the first album. However, the actual name wasn't there until I actually wrote the lyrics for the title track, and I played it to our friends from Alitor. Actually, it should be pronounced Alitor, since it's supposed to be a mixture of alien and predator.
I didn't really remember that, but Alitor I remember getting with Marko a couple of years ago, a few years ago. But yeah, I always said Alitor, but Alitor is how it's supposed to be pronounced. Okay.
Well, we always say Alitor as well, but it's supposed to be a joke on some guy from their school when they were kids who looked like a mixture of alien and predator. So that's how the band got their name, which is really like stupid, but it's just stayed from when they were kids. Anyway, their guitar player, Jovan, he listened to the track, and there's a line in the track that goes, "I'm a pill hard to swallow." And I guess many people really feel that way about me personally, that I'm a really like difficult person.
Really?
Well, I don't know. I guess so. Maybe not difficult, but like weird or hard to understand. I have no idea. I mean, I had a lot of phases in my head since I was a kid. So especially those who have met me when I was younger, probably like didn't really like me because I was all over the place. I was like, I had no idea what I was doing.
Really? This is coming to a surprise to me, because I would never think that in a million years.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I don't know. Some people like me, some don't. That's okay, I guess. And as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that I've made some mistakes in my communication with some people, but that's okay, I guess. Like it's normal. It's part of growing up, whatever.
Yeah, it happens, yeah.
And Jovan pointed out that line to me. "I'm a pill hard to swallow." And I was like, he was like, "That's it, man." And I was like, "That's what?" He's like, No, that's it, man." I'm like, okay. So I paid special attention to that line, and it made perfect sense to me to call the album and the song that. And I think it's like very interesting, because most reviewers, when they were reviewing the album, they had two sides. Some were like, "Yeah, this surely is a pill hard to swallow, but it's very interesting, blah blah blah," and the others were like, this is not hard to swallow at all. It's really easy listening, whatever. So we kind of made an impact with that title, I guess.
I think you're right. And our last interview, you actually said that you were focusing on doing something different. You weren't going to be like the last recording. You're not going to sound like Space Eater, let's say. You made it a bold statement that you're looking to do something different with the band, and that's what you've done. So it should be no surprise to anyone paying attention that this has been your plan all along, and you really have succeeded with a great offering here. So for me, it's not really a pill hard to swallow, but I do get what you're saying, and you really make it a very good explanation of why you call the album that, and it does make a lot of sense. So I really appreciate you talking about that. It's really cool that you did that. But I think, like, for me, Luka, even when you would call Tower back in the days, for me, you have special meaning for me in what you stand for, because you saved Space Eater back in the day. As we know, the tragic story with Space Eater back in the day.
Yeah, but I can't really take the credit for saving Space Eater, because it was actually Carlo who really like pulled all the strings, especially in the beginning. I mean, it was kind of a lot of my songwriting and the energy that I brought, like that he actually found someone to replace Boško and somebody to play guitar, sing, write songs and stuff like that. But it was really his initiative, and I was just following his lead, at least in the start. Like later, when he went to Germany, I took over the band and everything. But like I can't take all the credit for Space Eaters.
No, I understand that, and I respect. I understand and respect what you're saying. But you did bring Space Eater to the next level, because it was a great thrash band. You made it a greater thrash band, and
thank you.
Yeah, and that's really what you have special meaning to me, because of everything that you've done with Space Eater and carrying on to Quasarborn. You'll always have my support. So I can't imagine anyone having anything to say to the contrary, that Luka, he's the man. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is to me. He's the man. So let's get back to the Hard Pill to Swallow. Now, I would imagine this was recorded, of course, at your Citadela studio there in Belgrade. Am I wrong about that?
No, of course not. Yeah,
right.
It was recorded there.
Right, and you did all the mixing, mastering, producing, and everything like this, I would imagine, as well, because you're the man.
Yeah, I mean, we started recording in January last year, so like exactly 1 year ago. And no, not exactly 1 year. What the fuck am I talking about? It was like, I'm still stuck in January in my head. We started recording in January 2019. Started with the drums as usual. Unfortunately, we had very little time to rehearse these songs, so recording them was a bit more problematic than usual, because like there were many more takes, and it was winter. It was very cold in the studio at that time. I didn't really have heating set up very well. He had I remember coming to the studio every day, first sitting next to the heater for an hour to get heat up, and then he could play. And then I recorded all the rhythm guitars for this one, because George, he didn't really have any time to practice that much as much as he wanted to practice for the recordings. So he only played his own guitar parts. Like, he didn't play all the rhythm guitars and riffs. He only played his leads, his additional guitar parts, and parts that he came up with. And that's kind of how, in the end, he left the band. I don't know if you have seen this.
I have not seen that.
But actually, George is not in the band anymore, and this was a mutual decision. And it was we're still very good friends. But lately, he has been studying psychology and focusing more on his own band called Centurion.
Yes, I remember you telling me about that was his main band, and he really wasn't going to be in Quasarborn. Really, I think what you had mentioned about that is my take on it, that he's in Quasarborn now, but his real band is Centurion.
That's his main band, and
right.
He's been studying psychology, and he kind of devoted himself more to that. And we had a deal with him, because he felt guilty that he couldn't really participate in Quasarborn as much as he wanted. And at first we were like, that's no problem. We understand. Let's make it so everybody's happy because we don't want you to go. We don't want you to leave.
Right.
So like we just had some like you can do this, you can't do that. I mean, not literally, but like we had a kind of set of what is okay with all of us, and then we just ended up with having like a lot of rehearsals and he wouldn't be there, and it kind of felt empty for us because we really at some point wanted to have the fourth member, the guitar player, who's going to be there for us all the time. And he still felt like this was a huge burden for him because he couldn't like devote himself as much as he would want to. And in the end we just said like, okay, let's just let's go our separate ways as friends. I mean, it's going to be in the long run easier for everyone, and he has like more time on his hands now to like play with Centurion, to compose new songs and to study. And we have recruited a new guitar player whose name is Dimitrije, and he's really young. He's I think he's 19. I'm not sure.
Oh wow.
I'm not sure he's yet 19. I think he's still 18. His birthday is soon, like in April.
Very nice, thank you. I didn't know about that, but as you said, you and George parting ways. At least you're still friends, and you did the right thing on both your parts.
Yeah.
But I was not aware of that. Thank you for letting me know about that. Wow. He's working out for you?
Yeah, the new kid. I mean, he's really a kid. Like, it's fun because he's so pumped, like he's bringing that youthful energy back into the band because we're old farts. I mean, we're not really that old, but we've been in band in not maybe Quasarborn, but we've been in a band together for 15 years. Tiki and myself, like it was Fatality, then it was Space Eater, now it's Quasarborn, and like like a lot of this has become for us normal routine or something. It's just normal. As you get older, the stuff becomes less and less new to you. And for him, a lot of this was very new. We had our first gig with him outside of Serbia in February. It was in Bosnia. And that was his first gig outside of Serbia ever. And he was thrilled to go there. And he's really good on stage. He's a good guitar player. And what's interesting to me is that he has a completely different playing style than George, and he's into some really different music than George and us. He likes stuff like more hardcore bands like Converge and stuff like that, and he's going to bring some of that to us, and I'm looking forward to that because as we talked, I really want to expand what we're doing as much as possible, so it's going to be really fun writing new songs with him.
I wish you the best with that, and I'm glad that it's working out for you, that you feel good with him. And
like
you said, having the new blood, it'll keep you to do what your goals are with Quasarborn, so that's great.
Yeah.
And the words to the album, did you write all the words to the new offering, A Pill Hard to Swallow, or did everyone have a piece of the action in that? Because I would imagine you were the main writer.
Yeah, for the lyrics, it's all mine.
Right.
Because like the other guys, they're like Tiki. He doesn't really care about lyrics that much. He's more like a music guy, and he's like, he hates lyrics. Actually, he wants to think about the song. He wants to imagine his own story.
That's okay.
Like,
nothing wrong with that.
Hates. Yeah, he has this idea like he said to me once. I mean, he was maybe partially joking, but it's an interesting concept. He's like, I hate the lyrics telling me what the song is about. I want to like figure it out by myself. And that's why he likes instrumental music, and that's really cool. That's an interesting approach to that, and it also kind of leaves me with more open hands, and like I can write whatever I want because he doesn't care. And like the other guys, they have just they haven't written that much lyrics in their life. I mean, I'm talking about Dimitrije and Thomas because Georgie is writing the lyrics for Centurion. And they just like read what I write, and they know me, and they usually really are like, dude, this is so you. I know where this is coming from. And this album was very personal for me. Like, I started writing the songs and the lyrics in 2017, and I've been through some rough times in these past 3 years, like in my head, and I was in some dark places at moments, and you can hear that in the certain songs on the album.
I don't think I was
And
aware of that. I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, but it's nothing special. I mean, I've managed to deal with everything, so I'm fine now. But
That's good to
it
know.
kind of, yeah, thank you. But the thing is that was very good for my songwriting because I used that to write these songs. And like for example, if you listen to the songs "Tell Me" with Suicide, um, Thomas, he hates that song so much because he's like, I remember, he says this to me, I remember you being this way, and I don't want to remember you being this way.
I understand that. Yeah, sure.
And that makes me really proud because I know that I've actually really managed to portray what I was feeling with that song because it speaks to him really strongly, even though he doesn't like it. it's doing its job, the song.
Did you battle with depression or something like that?
Well, it's not. I don't know if I don't like to call it depression because I honestly hate like how much in the recent years depression has been like everybody is depressed and many people romanticize depression like it's a good thing. It's so cool to be depressed or something like that. I had my issues. I don't know if I would call that depression. Maybe you can. I don't know. I'd leave that to somebody who's an expert.
Right.
But I had like some issues and like I went and talked to some people. I like sit and thought about everything and I just worked it out over time.
That's the best thing you could do, actually.
Yeah, I didn't want to make like a huge thing out of it, but I did write this music and it's the best thing that happened out of that. So it's the good things that happen because of the bad things. I guess it's something like that. But also there's the other part of the album, like there's songs like Bastion and Identity Catharsis. They're like empowering and there's like me standing on my feet and again being like, hey, I'm back, I'm here and I'm stronger than ever. So it's just a journey and that's the whole point of the album. Is like it's a personal journey. It's got many episodes, ups and downs. Somehow I just, instead of choosing to put the like depressive songs at the beginning and then making it upwards into a like happy ending, I put most of the like happy songs or energetic songs in the beginning and then the melancholic depressive songs are at the end. Something like that. But it's just the album is kind of divided into those two parts, like the empowering energetic songs and the melancholic songs.
That's sort of symbolic of how life really is, because there's not always the positive sides to everything. There's always going to be the downfalls too. So I can respect what you're saying about that as well. It's really good stuff that you're saying, because
Thank you.
that's how life is. Not everything is always up. You have your ups and downs, your hills and valleys, and so great work on your part.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And also, did Tihi also do the CD art for this offering, like he did last time, or did you have someone else? Because when I saw this art, it's very colorful, but also a bit trippy. Like I'm saying, when I saw it, I'm reminded of the Doctor Strange movie. If you've never seen it, it's quite a trippy movie, and the CD art is very geometrical. And when I saw it, I'm like, wow, look at this, it's very interesting. And so, could you tell us more about the CD art and actually who did design it?
Sure, of course. So with the last cover, the one that he did, which was black for the Odyssey to Room 101, that was like I wanted to have like a dark album that was kind of like Metallica Black Album, kind of everything is black and you can't see anything. That was my idea, and I was like, do something with this, and he had the idea with the Rorschach and everything. So he didn't really like it, how it turned out for the first album, and I loved it because that's what was in my head. And this time, I was like, you can do whatever you want. I don't want to like interfere with your ideas. Just make it not stand out from the music. And he wanted to have like this street neon atmosphere, like neon lights and buildings, city and night, stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that resonates with what I'm talking about, because I feel like we're a really down to earth band. We're not a band that speaks about, I don't know, like some fantasies. We're not a band that speaks about some fairy tales or anything. We're like a down to earth band that deals with, like everyday things that people go through. And that's why like this city is very, for me at least, like very adequate for the music. And he wanted to have this geometrical kind of thing that looks like a chessboard somehow. And the chessboard is actually like the top of the buildings. And it was because he's a designer. He thinks in this interesting way, unlike a painter or something. He is like more, like with the shapes and the colors. He has just his way of thinking. And he sent a couple of versions to us, and I loved every single one. And I loved this one. I was really happy with the cover art because I felt it really like portrayed the album well. And he did, because he asked me like at the beginning, like, what are you going to write the lyrics about? And I was like, it's going to be about a person, actually, like about a personal journey. So you have like this little person, a red person that is standing on top of a building next to a huge Q logo. And he drew all these red strings that are like somehow spreading throughout the city from the center. And at the beginning, he didn't have any explanation for those. That's what he felt. And I was like, this is genius. This is literally, these strings are kind of representing each issue that a person has. And they're all like coming from various points in this city and are all like joining in this huge red Q that is in the center. And I loved it. And he was like, wow, you explained my drawing to me. And I'm like, yeah. And I really love the cover art. I mean, he really loves it. So that makes me love it even more. I think that, I want him to like keep doing this for the next albums and everything, like always doing something new and interesting when he likes, and think that's going to be the greatest solution for us.
Excellent. He did a great job, and it makes for a very symbolic CD art cover there. Very good job.
Yeah.
And last season we talked about Quasarborn and possibilities of getting signed, but at the same token, you took a lot of pride in being a do-it-yourself type of band. So I know this was self-released, but I want to know how it's been out there for you before all this coronavirus nonsense. About if you have any updates on any potential availability or possibility, I should say, of the band getting signed to a major label. Has there been any progress in that?
Well, at first, like, we didn't really know what it was like to be signed. We just kind of like, we're kids and we thought you get signed and that's it, you're done. But as we grew up, as we played and learned things, it was kind of obvious to us that it didn't work really that way. And at our level, like the small labels that work with you, if you can do it yourself, if you have the time, the knowledge, the contacts and everything, you're better off on your own probably. Because like, if you can get CDs, if you can get people to like write about your music, if you can get yourself into some magazines, if you can book your own shows and stuff like that, you don't really need a smaller label. This is like for people who either don't have time and don't know how to do it and stuff like that. It's just I don't want to insult any smaller labels. No, of course not. It's just that we do this by ourselves, and we've been doing it as good as we can. And honestly, I haven't seen any like setbacks from when we were signed back as Space Eater or Space Eater. That's the only band I was signed with. So like the only difference might be that when you write to somebody and you say, hi, I'm on this label, and these people are like, oh, I know that label, so probably you're okay. This time you have to be like, yeah, we're independent, just check us out, I promise you won't regret it. And then some people will just drop your emails into the spam folder, and some who check it out are like, wow, or some are like, yeah, this is whatever. But on that level, you can manage a band on your own. Once you start growing, and if you have, this is my guess. I'm just guessing this. But if you grow as a band, and if you can like provide some kind of proof that you have some income or whatever, I think most not major, but like these metal labels like I don't know, Napalm Records, Massacre Records, whatever, I think they'll be pretty happy to sign you. Because if you have like proof that you're making some money or whatever with your music, I think they'll be very happy to get a part of that. So to get their share. So like my thoughts are that while we're a smaller band, we're going to do it ourselves because that's the best way that we can. And if we ever manage to make this too big so we can't manage it on our own, we're just going to have to like collect all the data and come up to an actual like label that is going to be on the level of where we are, and just knock on their door and say, hi, we're Quasarborn. This is the data. This is how much we can sell, because that's the only thing labels are really interested in: how much music you can sell, how much tickets you can sell for the concerts, and how much T-shirts can you sell. I mean, they don't really care about most of the other things, which is normal. They are businesses, and that's what they do. So like, we can come up and be like, hey, this is what we can do. Are you interested in working with us? And if we meet their expectations, they're going to sign us. That's kind of what I'm guessing. That's how it works. So I'm just going to keep doing this, like writing emails, playing as much concerts as we can. I mean, before the outbreak of the coronavirus, we've been trying to book a tour. And this was supposed to be a tour with band Alitor that we already mentioned, and another band from Serbia called Nemesis, which is an all-female death metal band, melodic death metal band, kind of. Nice. And we were supposed to like have this 3 co-headlining tour, whatever, in Europe. It's nothing too big, like the stuff we usually do, like 10 concerts, something like with our friends from all over, like the Europe that we already know. And that's the kind of stuff that you do. Like you do a couple of concerts, some people see you, they like you, they tell other people, you do another concert and stuff like that. Of course, the virus kind of blocked that for us. We can't book any more stuff. So I don't know, we must wait to see if we can play more concerts, but that's just how you grow this thing. You play as much as you can, you promote yourself on social media, you put out new stuff, people like hear what you're doing, they like it or they don't, they tell their friends. I mean, it was really, really great for me when this guy approached, I'm sorry, but I can't remember the exact name of the city in Germany. And he's like, hi, I want to buy 12 CDs.
Wow, that's
like,
nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, all my friends really like Quasarborn. I'm like, dude, that's great. Like, because he heard us and he liked us. So he showed Quasarborn to his friends and they all loved it. So like 12 CDs, dude. That's like, I was like, can we come to your town and play a show? If 12 people came, that's enough. That's like nice. 12 people who actually really love our music is like, to come to our show is better than having 1,000 people who don't really love your music. You know,
I agree. Yeah. Now, is a Pill Hard to Swallow available in physical CD copy or only in digital copy?
Yeah, we did CDs. We did print CDs.
Okay, good.
Because
I noticed your Bandcamp, you're offering free downloads of this offering.
Yeah, that's because, you know, like, this is maybe a generation thing, but for younger people, they don't really buy CDs as music. They buy CDs as a token of, they remember like a gig, or this is more like an object to put on a shelf. They don't really listen to CDs as music. So I kind of, this was based on my research, because me growing up, I always really loved listening to actual CDs.
Right.
And then you just like, I listened to so many people talking about the people who run the industry, people who are music managers and stuff like that, who are like, dude, like people don't really actually listen to CDs anymore. And this might be a bit different in metal, because metal has always been a bit more traditional when it comes to stuff like these. So people still do listen to actual CDs. But a lot of people will buy your CD just because they want to have something like, it's like a collectible.
Yes.
It's not really music. So we wanted to put this for free download because we were like, hey, listen to our music. Like we want to have everybody to be able to hear what we're doing. And if they like it, they can buy a shirt. We're like putting out new designs from time to time. We've been planning a new design recently, but we're also cut off by the virus. We're going to be putting out new designs of shirts all the time. We're going to be putting out CDs, stuff like that. So you can support the band by buying anything, and you can listen to the music for free to like see if you even like it, because that's just how it works today. Like if we wanted to, many people are like, people don't buy CDs anymore. They don't buy. I mean, they don't. You can't force them to buy it. And you just have to like understand how people like to do things nowadays. It's the streaming. They don't even download things. They just like to stream. They go to YouTube, they type in your band and they listen. And that's fine because that's how it works. You can't change it. I mean, that's just how the world is today. So you can, if you need money for your band, there's different ways to make it. You print out new shirts, and people, if they are putting out good music, if you're a good band, if they relate to what you're doing, they're going to buy your shirt. So that's cool. That's just different way of doing things.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Now, let's talk about merch, though, how the fans can support Quasarborn. They can get the CDs, they can get shirts. And what other merch do you actually have available for the fans? And would it be the quasarborn.bandcamp.com that they could get it at? Or what other links can we give the fans? Could it be at your Facebook, facebook.com/Quasarborn101? Or do we have other links to give them?
Well, everything, our Facebook page is pretty much the central for everything. So you can get everything on our Facebook page. If you message us on facebook.com/Quasarborn101, you can like message us about anything. You can get the CD, the shirt, anything. But the problem is that post offices right now are pretty fucked up in Serbia. They're like letting in one person at a time.
Right.
So you have like 20 people, one person at a time, and you have to stand outside, and it takes hours to send something. So like I'm pretty much disabled to be sending things all over the world right now.
Right.
And we wanted to have all kinds of merch. We were supposed to publish this with our concert, and our concert was supposed to have some even exclusive merch, but this is not going to happen now. So what we do have is we have white shirts, which is like with a little Quasarborn atlas, like for like a first single from this album. We have black shirts, which are yet not revealed, and they will be soon. We have patches, which are also not revealed. We have badges, and we have the CDs, the new ones and the old ones. So that's kind of what we have from the merchandise right now. And as I told you, we haven't really even published all this because we wanted to have it like on our gig, on our concert, to be kind of not maybe exclusive, but first time you can buy it there, and then later on online. And then because of the post office hell, I didn't want to put it online because I couldn't process all the orders, so we just delayed all that. But once this is all better, everybody can get stuff on facebook.com/Quasarborn101.
Okay, great. That's good news. Yeah, this what they call social distancing, and just the fact of this coronavirus, everything, especially for the bands, and I'm not in a band, but I feel it as well. Obviously, everything is put at a standstill. Like you're just like comatose. You can't go forward. So I really feel for you that the things you want to do and the things that you hope to achieve, you can't do because it's not safe to do that. And performing, you can't even get out there to perform. It really sucks. So I mean, I'm sure you have really nothing planned until it's safe to do something, and then you'll probably have to backtrack with the three bands that you're talking, that Alator and Nemesis, going on a tour with you. Hopefully that can come into fruition when it's safe to do so. But what about before all this was going on? Were you able to do some performing before this virus took place?
Yeah, we had a couple of gigs. We had gigs on 28th and 29th of February, which is very interesting, like 29th of February, which occurs one every 4 years. And we had a gig, and that was in Bosnia, in Tuzla and Sarajevo, which are like bigger cities in there. And those were really great gigs, especially the one in Sarajevo. We loved that gig very much. And those were, as I said before, first gigs with our new guitar player. And also we had like Nemesis and Alitor with us on those gigs, and it was really great. It was fun hanging out with everyone, and it was really kind of first time playing some of the songs from the album, because we've never played them before. Of course, we've been playing Atlas for some time and Bastion and stuff like that, but not everything. So this was very interesting for us. And then after that, we had Kragujevac, which is a city in Serbia, which is very famous for rock and roll. That show was on the 7th of March, just a week before our concert in Belgrade was supposed to be. And that was a really great show. And before that, we played some other cities in Serbia, like Apatin. We played in Novi Sad, which is also a really famous punk town. And very interesting thing that happened in Novi Sad was that maybe some of your listeners, and maybe you're familiar with the stickers, or actually not the stickers, but this is kind of a thing that Euronymous put on the Mayhem CDs. It was a picture of Scott Burns, and it was like crossed over, like, forbidden smoking sign.
Okay.
And it said no fun, no mosh, no core, and no trends. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not.
So yeah, Euronymous and the black metal guys from Norway, they really hated death metal, especially the U.S. Florida death metal.
Really?
And they hated,
Wow.
yeah, they hated Scott Burns. They were like, this is, like stupid comic book fun metal. Metal is supposed to be evil and kill people. That's what they thought,
Okay.
Like Euronymous was obsessed with, like, he used to send records to Albania because he loved Albania, because he felt that it was the most evil country in the world.
Wow.
Stuff like that. So he was a really crazy guy. And the fun thing is that we went to Novi Sad to play, and as I said, Novi Sad is a very famous punk city in Serbia. They had a really strong punk and metal scene, like in the 90s. And just outside the club, there were posters like all over a wall. Like, I don't know, you can see, like, I'll send you this picture. People, I don't know who, but some kids, I guess, printed out my face, crossed over, and it said no fun, no mosh, no core, and no trends. They like copied the Euronymous thing, and instead of Scott Burns, they put me on the picture. And I was like, wow, really?
Why would they do that though? I don't understand that.
Well, this is my guess. I can't promise this, but I'm thinking these are some black metal kids who've probably been watching Lords of Chaos or something like that, and they just kind of saw me as a symbol of some modern metal or something like that,
Oh, wow.
which is not, or maybe something like that. It doesn't matter. The thing that was like, that was in my mind was like, whoever did this paid for it and really had to put in some effort. You have like, imagine like you have to first sit at your computer, you have to design this poster, then you have to go to the printing office or whatever, you have to pay for the printing, you have to show it to the printing person. It's like, yeah, print me like I don't know, 20 of these posters. Then he had to come up to the club where we're playing, they have to like put it on the walls. There's quite amount, there's some work to do just like to make a statement against me for something. And I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting. And some of my friends were really pissed off, and I was like, no, dude, this is publicity for me. And like, whoever did this never said it to my face, never made any public statements or anything except for this. And I kind of thought of it as pretty much it was fun for me, So like, I don't know. There was a really interesting thing that happened in Novi Sad.
Wow, that's very interesting. You have a very positive attitude about it, but it seems like it was a waste of energy for these people to do that.
Well, I don't know. It was fun for me. So they kind of made my day.
As long as you see it that way, then great. It's crazy though. I think it's crazy, but I hear what you're saying, and you took it a very positive way. So I'm happy for you as far as that's concerned. But that's crazy. Oh boy. And I want to give your Quasarborn official YouTube, Quasarborn official. I noticed that you have all the tracks as official audio videos for Pill Hard to Swallow.
Yeah.
And I also noticed that you had a performance video for Mamala.
Yeah, that's an island in Montenegro. It's an ancient, not really ancient. It's an old fortress which was used as a prison and concentration camps during World War I and II.
Oh, wow.
So that's a very interesting place. And the thing about that was that a lot of kids used to play there because it's a fun island. It's right when you enter the Boca Bay, which is where my grandfather is from, and I go there every summer. And I really love the Boca Bay, and it's a great place to be. And recently, they sold the fortress to some people who want to make a luxury hotel out of it. So this is kind of, imagine like selling Auschwitz to Hilton hotels.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that was kind of the inspiration for that song.
Wow.
And it's also a metaphor for a personal prison as well, and how, as we talked earlier, like you can make like your personal hell into a facade, charade, whatever. So the thing is that that song Mamilo was very special for me. I mean, it's kind of stupid to say because all the songs are very special to me.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, my grandmother, she escaped Auschwitz, and she was the only survivor in her family when she came to America. And my grandfather, that's my father's mother. But she lived a full life till like 98 years old. But yeah, so as you're talking about this video and everything, I can't see the concentration camp being made into a Hilton hotel. I can't fathom something like that happening. That's kind of really insane.
Yeah, it's completely insane, especially because this is an island, and the entire island is the fortress. So there's no way of getting there other than by boat, and it's supposed to be some kind of exclusive high luxury hotel.
Wow.
So that makes it even more insane. And there's a lot of people who were against that, some guerrilla actions of graffiti and stuff like that. They put poison everywhere to poison the seagulls because a lot of seagulls are nesting on Mamila, and they're all dead now. And there was an initiative to stop poisoning the seagulls, but none of it happened. I mean, it's just when the Montenegrin government decides to do something, there's nothing to stop them.
Wow. And why does this have so much meaning to you on a personal level? I'm interested to hear about
because
that.
I'm very connected with the Boca Bay, and especially because my grandfather is from there. I had a lot of friends from there, and I spend a lot of time there every summer, because I have some friends there and my relatives and stuff like that. So it's just a place that I really love.
Very cool.
And I use the whole thing as a kind of as well as a metaphor.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that story with us.
Atlas was the first single that came out. It was in June or July or something like that. I'm not really sure. And then Bastion came out in September, October, and they were supposed to announce the album. So those were the first two videos, and we wanted to do videos for Identity Catharsis and Clouds, but unfortunately, since now we're producing our own videos as well. I mean, we have our friend Jovana Uzelac. She's recording the videos, filming them. Sorry, she's filming the videos. She's the director of photography, but we're directing ourselves. I'm editing the videos, and Tihi's doing some digital effects later and stuff like that. So since we're producing the videos ourselves too, it was kind of difficult to work on so many things at once. And we only ended up doing 2 music videos, and the one for Mamila and the visualization for the pill video. And the rest we decided to just upload, because even if we wanted to not upload our songs to YouTube, somebody else was going to do it. So we just went why don't we just do it ourselves, make it the best possible quality so people can listen to everything. And then if they want to support us, as I said, they're going to buy a shirt or CD or whatever.
Right.
And as for your question, like, what can we do? Well, we can practice and we can exchange our ideas. Like, we have a bunch of new ideas that we're working on, like recording ourselves in our rooms, and then he has sent a bunch of his ideas to me, and I've sent him back some of my ideas based on what he was doing, and then we're sending it to Dimitrije, like, hey, can you do like a little lead part over this and whatever. So that's kind of what we're working on right now, but still he is working from home, so he actually doesn't have quite a lot of time. And Dimitrije, he's still in school, and the fun part is that he has class all day over Skype.
Oh, yeah.
He has like his school is kind of weird because he has class all day, and when I say all day, that's like he sometimes has class like 10 p.m. So he doesn't really have that much time as well. And Thomas is working from home as well. So I'm the only one who really doesn't really work that much. And I'm the only one with extra time. The other guys are pretty much still working. So we don't even have that much extra time. And we're limited with what we can do. So that's a double bummer.
It really is. What can we say? There's really not much you could add to that because of the situation. And hopefully, when everything gets calm, you'll be able to do exactly what you want to do, how you want to do it, without restrictions.
I hope so, yeah. I mean, that's actually probably the scariest thing about this whole thing, because once this is all over, what then? What's the world going to look like? What's the economy going to be like? Are we going to have any money? What's going to happen with the music industry? What's going to happen with smaller bands like us? I mean, because there's not much money in what we do. Imagine like a small gig booking organizer somewhere in, I don't know, Czech Republic, where we love to play. And will this person have enough time and money and everything to do our gig? Is that going to be even possible? I mean, a lot of these questions are kind of bugging me right now, but there's nothing I can do about it, so I just have to wait and see.
I totally understand, and I can relate to what you're saying. What the future may hold or not hold for us in the future, no matter what we do out there, and whether you're in a band or whatever your job is, just to be do our normal thing that we're used to doing. The world's changed so much, and especially during all of this, that what is next? I mean, a lot of my friends, they're mad, but I tell them being mad's not going to change anything. So yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy about it, but being mad about it. Luka, is there anything that you'd like to say to your fans that are tuning in at this time? Anything that you'd like to say to them?
Well, thank you guys for like giving me a chance. Thank you guys for listening to good music. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the scene. Thank you for being a part of the metal scene and the world metal scene, you know, because this means a lot to all of us. We're all in this together, like this music and keeping it alive. I mean, what's happening right now is that, you know, like when we look at it, a lot of the rock music is slowly dying. You know, I remember like 15 years ago, you had like in the US, in the rock charts, you had some bands, you might have liked them or not, but they were playing some kind of rock, like, I don't know, Paramore or whatever. And now when I look at the rock charts, I see bands like Imagine Dragons or 21 Pilots, and I just don't see them as rock bands, you know. I don't want to say anything bad or good about them. I just don't see them as rock. I mean, I can't hear any guitars, any drums. They're all like electronic samples and stuff like that. Oh. So I think that like the rock music is kind of at a kind of a low point at this moment, kind of like maybe back in the 90s with metal, like when grunge took over, but there's not even any grunge to take over right now. So I think that at this point, it's really important that if you want to keep rock music alive, to support any rock musician around you, like your local scene or whatever band you like online, like any kind of stuff, because this is especially a hard time for all of us with all this. The virus made it even worse, but it's just that the music which is played with instruments is currently kind of in a low point, which is something that I don't like, because I like rock music and I don't know, music that you play. I'm not really a fan of music which is electronic, using a lot of samples and stuff like that. I mean, I like using samples sometimes in rock music, but that's a different story. So I think that everybody who wants rock music to stay alive should just keep supporting it, keep listening, and keep like checking out new bands locally and around the world. And I think our community is going to stay strong, no matter how small or big it is. What's important is that we love the music. That's what it's all about.
Keep the music alive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, technical music is one thing, but techno music, electronic music, like you're saying, I don't know the first thing about it. I know I'm not into that, so I hear what you're saying, but I'm not. Those names that you mentioned, I wouldn't have the first clue what that is. But I remember as a kid listening to pop music or what would they call popular music back in the day, and what they have on now on even the same stations is totally different, and it's not like a totally different language to me. I'm like, what is this? And no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I have a CD collection, but like you said earlier in the interview, I don't really listen to CDs, not even in the car anymore. I listen to my iPod. I listen to the iPod on my truck. I listen to it at home. I listen to the computer, all digital format. So yeah, I have the CDs for as a collection, as a collector's item, especially when it gets signed by the band that you get it from. But otherwise, it's all about digital format with me as well. But so I do recognize what you're saying about that. But yeah, keep the music alive, support the local scene and all that. That's very important stuff right there. So
well, even the big bands, I mean, even they're kind of in a problem right now. I mean, if you compare to where they were like 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, sure.
Because, I mean, maybe not like bands like Metallica, but I don't know, like look at Sepultura, for example, or something like that. I mean, there was a concert in Serbia in Sepultura, and there was like 250 people. That was in 2014. And like Mayhem, they had as well 250 people, which is like, we get more people than that in Belgrade. I mean, yeah, we're a local band in our own town, but bands like Mayhem, they had way more people back in 2010 when they played in Serbia. There was like, I think 700 people on at their concert. So, like those bands which are kind of not Metallica, but are like still like big metal bands, they're also facing issues with the decline of rock music. If we want to keep this alive, we must like support all the artists we really like.
This is true, and like you say, the bad thing about this coronavirus is that even the big names, they still can't perform out there. They can't perform the big festivals that are happening. Everything's being canceled. This whole thing is a tragedy because the economy is a stalemate now, and everything you talk about, metal or rock or anything to do with this industry is all put on hold, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to wait it out. I mean, it's just a really unfortunate, sad story. It's like almost like a bad movie, a really bad horror movie, and it's actually happening though. That's the saddest part about it.
Yeah, well, we'll live through it.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty positive and optimistic when in the end, in the long run. But these are just going to be hard times, and that's it.
That's it, and you have to come to terms with that and just accept it and be positive like you are about it, and knowing that it'll all come back eventually, slowly but surely. But for that to happen, we got to conquer this COVID-19. Let it be done and learn from this, and hopefully we'll be prepared for the next time we have some other virus, because they say, whoever they are, that we have other viruses that will come worse than this down the road at some point. So who knows when, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a scary thought, but hey, that's part of life, right?
Yeah. We just got to be responsible and stay prepared.
Exactly. And thank you very much for this again, Luka. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And
pleasure talking to you too.
You'll always have my support, and we got to keep in touch better, so next time I don't almost miss your new release. And I gotta check the videos and all that. But just please do me a favor. Please stay safe, and you and all the members of Quasarborn, everyone in your circle, just be safe during these times and stay healthy. And hopefully we will definitely do this many more times with your future, and be productive out there. Respect the fact that you do it all your own, and like you said, you don't need to be on a label. Just be happy with what you're doing, and you're very passionate, and I've always known that you're very passionate. with what you do. And so for me, you're always going to be a very special metal brother, friend, whatever you want to call it. You'll always be that special someone to me. So
Thank you, Dave. You too.
you know, that's just the way it is. And just stay healthy. That's the most thing. Stay healthy, and with that, you'll be happy, hopefully. And everything that we're waiting for with this nonsense that's going on now, hopefully everything will pan out in the long run, and then you can accomplish all your goals and everything you want to do as far as your shows and merch and everything. Just hopefully everything will fall into place the way it's supposed to when this is all settled down.
Yeah, I hope that as well, man.
What else can we hope for, right? The worst is here now, so because I can't see much more than what is worse than what's already here. This is pretty bad. I'm not depressed over this. It is what it is what I say. But I don't want to come off as sounding like some manic emo depressive type person over it, because that's not how I feel. It sucks. It sucks for everybody, not you, not me, but everybody.
Yeah.
So how about we go crank up some more Quasarborn now? Crank it up louder. We could be happy.
That's a good idea.
Let's do it. Let's do it.